Jane, I think it's your turn to mow this week. Hello and welcome to another episode of Embrace Your Outdoor Space. In these 2 episodes, we're going to be talking about lawn. Now, statistically, up to 90% of adults at some point have enjoyed looking at lawn. And a lot of mediums are dedicated entirely to lawn. There are lawn magazines, there are entire websites just containing images of lawn, videos of lawn, everything.
Tommy, lawn, are you sure you're not thinking about something else?
Does that mean we're not going to film any lawn today?
Not the type you're thinking of.
In today's 2-parter, we are going to be looking at lawns and how to get the best out of our lawn. But in order to make sure that your lawn is looking fantastic all summer long, you need to maintain it and you need to mow it. But if the prospect of mowing makes you miserable, if your lawnmower is a pain in the grass to start, or worse still, if you are paying somebody to mow your lawn, then it could well be time that you cut the cord, forget the fuel, and make looking after your lawn as pleasurable as possible.
Where are you going?
Mate!
Oh, nice.
Just might want to cut to the lawn mowing history video now.
Introducing the history of the lawnmower. The lawnmower was invented here in Britain in 1830 by Edwin Beard Budding, an engineer from Stroud in Gloucestershire, England. Having been frustrated and experimented with many ways to maintain his grass, he obtained the idea after seeing a machine in a local cloth mill. The machine was a cutting cylinder used to cut cloth, and he decided, with a few innovations of his own, that he would be able to use the same practical applications in order to maintain and mow his own pasture.
And so it was that the lawnmower was invented.
Tommy, we're not doing the black and white thing anymore. You can stop.
Sorry, I'll be on my way. Oh mate, it's so hot in this. The invention of the lawnmower was a groundbreaking and ground-maintaining innovation. Up until its existence, people relied on wild stock like sheep or goats to keep areas of pasture and grass maintained. However, despite this leap forward in technology, early mowers were either powered by heavy steam engines or by manually pushing your mower. And this still would have been a labor-intensive exercise. Mowers like this were popular with gardeners all the way up to the 70s and 80s. In fact, some people still use a push mower to this date, but it was the 80s in particular where things changed. Fashions changed, hairstyles got bigger, wallets got fatter, and gardens grew, and the consumer demanded more power to pamper their prized lawns. It's time to power up your home and your garden. With petrol and plug-in performance, which one will you choose?
Sorry. What is this?
Oh, you want me to make a serious point now?
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah, so this was the 80s. Dreadful attire, dreadful haircuts, but power and performance in the garden. And it came in 2 options. You had fossil fuels or you had plug-in power. Now, how many of you grew up watching your parents try to contend with a cable or cord dangling behind them as they furiously attempted to mow their lawn using something similar to this? Now, whilst a cord and a cable did give you the added benefit of practical power when mowing and maintaining your lawn, there are a few drawbacks. Now, number 1, you're using a cutting machine with a cord and cable behind you. What could possibly go wrong there? And it did go wrong. I watched many a time my dad go through that, and our cable by the end of every summer would have pieces of tape periodically fudging the cable and cord back together. But it was quite amusing watching my dad try and use something like this. Watching my dad do anything is quite amusing, to be honest. But there are also another few pitfalls that came from the cable. It doesn't matter how diligently you stored these things away. When you came back to them after them being in the shed all winter long, for some reason, this cord and cable resembles something like this. First take. It looked like something like this when you went back to collect your mower for mowing season. And that in itself is no fun whatsoever. And mowing should be a pleasurable and enjoyable experience. So we're not only having to contend with a crow's nest of cable, we're not only having to constantly check behind to make sure that we don't cut through the cable. There's one further restriction, and that's the length of this thing. Because how many times, if you have a corded mower, have you tried to get that last bit of pasture at the end of the lawn that just taunts and teases you all summer long because your cable just isn't able? So with all those things considered, what was the other option? Well, it was fuel, fossil fuel at that as well. And whilst the 80s were a great time to capitalize on those low fuel costs, and with a seemingly infinite resource, this perspective of fuel has changed somewhat. Not only do we now know that it's no good for the environment, but there's also a finite amount of fossil fuel. And there are other frustrations when it comes to fuel as well. Firstly, the size and weight of a petrol engine. Whilst we know it's going to deliver performance, just getting it out of the shed or the store could be a workout in itself.
You got 80s again, mate. You got 80s again.
Work it out. Whew, I don't know if you saw I did so many reps there, but my workout's not finished because now I've got to start it. And starting a petrol mower means pulling one of these things. Now, if you haven't serviced, maintained, or looked after your petrol mower, if you just put it away at the end of the season, coming back to it at the start of the mowing season the year after is where you're praying to those mowing gods above, hoping that this thing's going to splutter into life and it's not going to be a smoky start, it's going to be an instant start. How many times have you been frantically pulling, hoping, praying? Start, you mother piece of got all that noise to contend with, and I've been saying that mowing should be a peaceful pastime. But that's the past. What about the future of lawn mowing? Surely there's a way to combine the benefits of both the old formats, the lightweight convenience of plug-in and the power and freedom of an engine mower. And you know what? There is. What if I told you you could combine the two without compromising? To mow your lawn without having to be tethered or constantly checking for something long and floppy between your legs.
Really?
What did you think I meant? What if I told you you could maintain your lawn without having to maintain a messy motor? And you could do it all by simply charging up, clicking in, and pushing on to next week's episode.